Have you ever stopped to think about how many times you've woken up feeling like you're just surviving instead of truly living? Maybe you've spent days, or even months, stuck in a routine that drains your energy, stifles your dreams, and makes you question, is this really the life I want? If you identify with this, know that you're not alone. Many of us at some point lose ourselves amidst the ups and downs of daily life, setting aside principles, values, and virtues that once guided our choices. But here's a powerful truth: it's never too late to start over. Just like a computer can be restarted when it freezes, your mind can also undergo a reset to regain clarity, serenity, and purpose. This text was created to guide you on a journey of transformation. You'll learn how to reignite essential thoughts and values, face challenges with resilience, and build a life aligned with who you truly are. And the best part? We don't need big changes to get started, just small, consistent steps toward the future you desire. So, how about using this moment as an invitation to reflect? Imagine what it would feel like to live with more emotional balance, integrity, and inner strength. Sounds distant? Don't worry, because I'm going to show you exactly how to achieve it. Ready to take the first step? Often we go through life on autopilot, don't we? Between work, family, and countless other responsibilities, we end up setting aside those principles and values that used to be our compass. And do you know what the problem with that is? When we lose touch with our virtues, it becomes easier to fall into emotional traps or make decisions that, deep down, we know don't align with who we really are. It's like trying to navigate without a map. You might get somewhere, but it probably won't be where you want it to be. But don't worry, because it's never too late to reignite those thoughts and reconnect with what truly matters. Imagine your values as a campfire that, due to neglect, has slowly gone out. What you need to do now is pick up one stick here, another there, maybe even blow gently, and bring that flame back to life. A good starting point is reflecting on moments when you felt fulfilled and aligned with your beliefs. What actions did you take back then? Which principles guided your choices? This reflection can already be your first step toward building the future you want. And look, this doesn't have to be complicated. Try creating a list of the values that resonate most with you today: honesty, gratitude, courage, compassion. Choose 3 or 4 and try to integrate them into your daily life. For example, if integrity is important to you, ask yourself before every decision, is what I'm about to do aligned with who I am? That way, little by little, you'll cultivate a strong mind, ready to face both the highs and lows of everyday life. So what do you think? Does this make sense to you? Pause for a moment and think. When was the last time you truly stopped to reflect on what's important to you? I'm not talking about a superficial reflection, like the kind that happens while brushing your teeth or waiting for your coffee to cool. I mean sitting with yourself without distractions and diving deep into your thoughts. This invitation may seem simple, but it carries incredible power. After all, it's through reflection that we gain clarity about our principles, virtues, and even the challenges that have distanced us from them. Interestingly, many people think reflection is something reserved only for philosophers or great thinkers like Marcus Aurelius. But the truth is that all of us have this ability and need. When we pause to think about our actions, we learn from our mistakes and adjust our course. For example, imagine you recently lost your patience with someone close to you. By reflecting on it, you might realize your reaction was disproportionate and seek ways to make amends. This practice not only strengthens your character but also promotes emotional balance. So, how about turning reflection into a daily habit? You can start with just 5 minutes a day, maybe when you wake up or before you sleep. Ask yourself, what did I do today that made me proud? Where can I improve tomorrow? Use these answers as a guide to reignite your beliefs and motivate yourself to act with more resilience. Remember, everyday life is full of opportunities to learn and grow. You just need to be attentive and willing to accept this invitation to reflect. What do you think about trying this? Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest names in Stoicism, had a habit that might sound surprising. He wrote to himself. Yes, that Roman emperor, surrounded by luxury and power, dedicated part of his time to reflect on his thoughts and principles. In Meditations, he teaches us something valuable. Reigniting our values isn't just a matter of willpower, it's about constant practice. He knew that even amidst life's challenges, whether they're familial, political, or emotional, we can always return to the basics, our virtues. What's most impressive about Marcus Aurelius' philosophy is his humanity. He wasn't unshakable because he was born that way. He was resilient because he chose to be. In his reflections, he admitted his own mistakes and sought to correct them. This shows us that no one is free from life's ups and downs, but what defines our character is how we respond to them. Imagine facing a tough day at work or a disagreement with a friend. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can pause, breathe, and ask, what would my values say about this situation? This simple approach can completely transform your perspective. And do you know what makes Marcus Aurelius' ideas so accessible even today? He spoke in a practical, uncomplicated way. He invites us to see each new day as a blank page, where we can start over and align our actions with our principles. If you want to experiment with this in your routine, start small. When you wake up, remind yourself of a phrase or thought that resonates with your values. It could be something like, "Today I choose to act with integrity," or "I will face challenges with serenity." This simple exercise can help you stay focused on what truly matters. What do you think about putting this into practice? Every day is a new chance to restart, and this isn't just a motivational cliche, it's a powerful truth. Think about it. When you wake up, you have the opportunity to leave yesterday's mistakes behind and start fresh. This daily reset is like pressing the restart button on a frozen computer. No matter what happened in the past, what really counts is how you choose to act today. And do you know the best part? You don't need to make big changes all at once. Just adjust small things to create a lasting impact. The morning, in particular, is a symbolic time for this fresh start. Imagine beginning your day with a brief reflection on what can be improved. For example, if yesterday you felt you lost your patience at some point, today can be the day to practice more calmness and understanding. Accepting life's ups and downs with serenity is essential to keeping your personal integrity intact. Remember, no one is perfect, but everyone has the chance to evolve. And this evolution begins when you decide to learn from the past without letting it hold you back. So, how do you put this daily reset into practice? One simple idea is to create a morning routine that includes moments of self-awareness. It could be meditating for 5 minutes, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, or even reviewing your values before getting out of bed. These small habits help strengthen your mind and prepare you to face the day's challenges with clarity. Remember, every dawn is an invitation to reflect and restart. How about embracing this idea and seeing where it takes you? If life were a building, principles and virtues would be the foundation that supports everything. Without them, any storm, no matter how small, can cause the structure to collapse. That's why keeping these values aligned is so crucial for preserving our character and integrity. When you act based on solid principles like honesty, compassion, and courage, you create a kind of internal compass that guides you even in the most confusing moments. And let's face it, who couldn't use a bit more clarity in the midst of chaos? But here's an important point. No one is immune to slip-ups. All of us, at some point, may act in ways that don't align with our deepest beliefs. What really matters isn't never making a mistake, but having the inner strength to recognize those slips and return to the right path. For example, imagine you promised yourself to be more patient but ended up losing your temper during a discussion. Instead of blaming yourself, use it as a learning experience. Ask yourself, how can I act differently next time? This kind of reflection turns mistakes into opportunities for growth. And do you know what makes principles and virtues even more powerful? They're universal and timeless. It doesn't matter if you lived in the 1st century like Marcus Aurelius or the 21st century, values like resilience, humanity, and emotional balance will always be relevant. So, how about taking some time to identify which virtues are most important to you? Write them down, reflect on them, and see how they can be applied in your daily life. Remember, when your actions align with your values, you not only live better but also inspire those around you. What do you think about starting this journey today? Often, when we think of historical figures like Marcus Aurelius, it's easy to fall into the trap of idealizing them as perfect, almost untouchable beings. But the truth is that Marcus Aurelius was human just like any of us. Yes, he was a Roman emperor and a brilliant Stoic philosopher, but that didn't spare him from the emotional and personal challenges we all face. He dealt with family problems, political conflicts, and even doubts about his own leadership abilities. And do you know what this teaches us? That we don't need to be perfect to strive for a life guided by high principles. What makes Marcus Aurelius so special isn't his position of power but his vulnerability. He wrote his reflections not to impress others but for himself, as a way to deal with the difficulties of everyday life. In his writings, he admitted his flaws and sought ways to improve. This shows us that, regardless of our context or circumstances, we all have the chance to grow and evolve. Imagine facing a day full of setbacks. Instead of getting lost in the chaos, You can use those moments as opportunities to reflect and strengthen your character. Here's a practical idea. How about following Marcus Aurelius' example and starting to record your own reflections? It doesn't need to be elaborate. A simple notebook where you jot down your thoughts, lessons learned, and even your mistakes can make a huge difference. This habit helps cultivate self-awareness and keeps you connected to your values, even in the toughest moments. Remember, no one is immune to life's challenges, but everyone has the ability to learn from them and move forward. What do you think about trying this practice and seeing how it can transform your perspective? When we think of a Stoic, we often picture someone with muscular arms, a serious expression, and an unshakable posture in the face of adversity. It's like that superhero movie character who faces everything without blinking, right? But here's the truth. This representation is more of a stereotype than a realistic description of Stoicism. The true strength of a Stoic isn't in their muscles or external appearance. It resides in the mind, in the ability to maintain serenity and integrity even when the world around them seems to be falling apart. In practice, Stoicism is about learning to control what we can, our thoughts, emotions, and reactions, and accepting what's beyond our control. It's not about being indifferent or ignoring life's difficulties but facing them with emotional balance. For example, imagine you're going through a tough time at work or at home. Instead of succumbing to frustration or despair, you can choose to respond with calmness and clarity. This attitude not only preserves your mental energy but also helps you find better solutions to problems. And do you know what's even more interesting? The idea of strength in Stoicism has nothing to do with rigidity or coldness. On the contrary, it's linked to emotional flexibility and the ability to adapt to circumstances. A Stoic understands that ups and downs are part of the journey and that every challenge is an opportunity to strengthen their mind. So, the next time you catch yourself idealizing that strong and unshakable figure, remember, true strength lies in recognizing your vulnerabilities and still moving forward with resilience. How about trying this approach and seeing how it can transform the way you handle challenges? It's easy to get stuck in the past, isn't it? That mistake you made, that opportunity you let slip away, or even the choices that seem to have led you down the wrong path, all of it can weigh on your mind and create a sense of stagnation. But here's a liberating truth. The past doesn't define who you are today or what you can become in the future. Yes, it can be a valuable teacher, but only if you use your mistakes as lessons and not as a prison. After all, what really matters is what you do now to correct your trajectory. The key to moving forward lies in accepting that the past is unchangeable, but the future is still open. Imagine you made a slip-up recently. Perhaps you lost your patience with someone or made an impulsive decision that didn't reflect your values. Instead of repeatedly blaming yourself, ask, what can I do today to fix this or prevent it from happening again? This shift in perspective transforms the weight of the past into fuel for personal growth. As Marcus Aurelius used to say, we cannot change what has already happened, but we can decide how to react. So, how do you put this idea into practice? A good strategy is to dedicate a few minutes each day to reflect on how your past experiences can help you evolve. For example, if you notice you procrastinate a lot, use that insight to adjust your habits today. Small changes, like setting daily goals or practicing self-compassion, can make all the difference. Remember, the past can influence, but it doesn't determine. You have the power to reignite your principles and chart a new course for your life. And if today is the day to start this transformation, why not take the first step? If there's a muscle that truly matters in Stoicism, it's not in the arms or legs, it's in the brain. Inner strength, the ability to think clearly and act virtuously even in the face of adversity, is the true essence of this philosophy. It's not about being indifferent to what happens around you but cultivating a mind strong enough to face challenges without losing your integrity or emotional balance. And here's the best part. This strength isn't something you're born with, it's developed through practice and dedication. Imagine yourself in a difficult situation. Perhaps an important project at work went wrong, or you faced a serious disagreement with someone close to you. In moments like these, it's easy to give in to the temptation to react impulsively or let frustration overwhelm you. But Stoicism teaches us that, regardless of what happened in the past, our principles remain unchanged. They're like an anchor that keeps us steady even when the waters are rough. For example, if one of your values is patience, you can choose to respond calmly, even when everything seems to conspire against you. So, how do you strengthen this mental muscle? A simple practice is to start observing your reactions to small daily challenges. When something goes wrong, instead of blaming others or succumbing to stress, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? By doing this repeatedly, You'll train your mind to handle bigger situations with more resilience. Remember, inner strength doesn't eliminate problems, but it gives you the courage and clarity needed to face them. How about starting today to exercise this skill? Principles and virtues are like stars in the sky of life. They guide us when everything around us seems dark or confusing. Without them, it's easy to get lost amid the pressures of daily life, making decisions that may seem convenient in the moment but erode our integrity and character in the long run. When you live according to your deepest values like honesty, compassion, and courage, you create a solid foundation that supports not only your actions but also your identity. And that makes all the difference. But here's an important point. Principles and virtues aren't something you simply have. They need to be cultivated daily. Imagine you're facing a moral dilemma at work. Perhaps someone suggests a shortcut that compromises your ethics in exchange for quick results. At that moment, it's the strength of your principles that will help you decide what to do. If you've spent time reflecting on what truly matters to you, it becomes much easier to say no to anything that contradicts your values. This constant practice of alignment is what strengthens your character and helps you maintain serenity, even in challenging situations. And do you know what's most amazing? When you live according to your principles, you inspire those around you to do the same. There's no need to preach or lecture, just act with authenticity and integrity. For example, if you choose to resolve conflicts with open dialogue and respect, you're demonstrating the power of those virtues in practice. So, how about dedicating some time today to reflect on which principles are most important to you? Write them down, review them, and see how they can be applied in your daily life. Remember, living with virtue isn't just a personal choice, it's a way to positively impact the world around you. Let's be honest, no one is immune to slip-ups. All of us, at some point, have acted in ways that don't align with our principles, whether out of fatigue, external pressure, or simple distraction. And do you know what's most liberating about this? No matter the size of the slip-up, there's always room to return to the right path. Stoicism teaches us that life is made of ups and downs, and the true test of character isn't in never making mistakes but in recognizing them and adjusting our trajectory. That's resilience in practice. Returning to your values starts with a simple choice: admitting that you've strayed. It sounds easy, but often we carry guilt or shame that prevents us from taking that first step. Imagine you lost your patience with a coworker or said something impulsive that hurt someone close to you. Instead of tormenting yourself, ask, what would my values say about this situation? How can I fix this? This exercise in self-awareness not only helps you repair the mistake but also strengthens your mind to handle similar situations better in the future. After all, every fall is an opportunity to learn and grow. Here's a practical tip. Create small daily reminders that help you stay connected to your principles. It could be an inspiring phrase written on a sticky note, a message on your phone, or even a brief pause to breathe and reflect before making important decisions. These moments of renewal are like resetting your internal compass, ensuring you keep navigating in the right direction. Remember, it's not about being perfect but about being willing to return to what truly matters. How about starting today to practice this attitude of returning to your values? Marcus Aurelius wasn't just a Roman emperor or a Stoic philosopher. He was, above all, a human being like anyone else. Despite his position of power and influence, he faced personal and emotional challenges that many of us still experience today. Family problems, political pressures, and even doubts about his own abilities were part of his routine. And do you know what this teaches us? That, regardless of our position in life, we're all subject to the same internal and external struggles. What makes Marcus Aurelius so inspiring is how he dealt with these challenges. He didn't try to deny them or pretend they didn't exist. On the contrary, he faced them head-on, using reflection as a tool to find emotional balance. For example, in his writings he frequently mentions the importance of accepting things that are beyond our control, like the actions of others or unpredictable events. This practical approach to Stoicism helped him maintain serenity, even when the world around him seemed chaotic. Imagine applying this same mindset to your own challenges, whether at work, in your family, or in personal relationships. Here's a practical idea. Just as Marcus Aurelius wrote his reflections, you can create a challenge diary. In it, record the difficult moments you've faced, how you reacted, and what you learned from each situation. This habit not only helps you process emotions but also strengthens your resilience for dealing with future obstacles. Remember, challenges aren't insurmountable barriers, they're opportunities to grow and evolve. How about starting today to face your own challenges with the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius? If you've ever heard someone say that Stoicism is about being hard as a rock or unshakable as a mountain, know that this image is just a mistaken stereotype. The true strength of Stoicism isn't about ignoring emotions or pretending problems don't exist. It resides in the mind, in the ability to think clearly and act virtuously even when everything seems to be going wrong. It's like having a trained mental muscle that allows you to face life's challenges with emotional balance and wisdom. This mental strength manifests practically when you learn to differentiate between what's within your control and what isn't. For example, imagine you're going through a tough phase at work. Perhaps a project went wrong or a colleague criticized you unfairly. Instead of letting frustration or anger overwhelm you, you can choose to focus on what really matters: your reactions and attitudes. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control others' behavior or external outcomes, we have full power over how we respond to them. This perspective transforms any situation into an opportunity to exercise your strong mind. Here's a simple practice to strengthen this skill. Throughout the day, observe your reactions to small setbacks, maybe heavy traffic, a long line, or an unexpected message. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I control here? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? Over time, this exercise will help you cultivate a resilient mind, capable of maintaining serenity even in the most turbulent moments. Remember, true strength isn't about avoiding difficulties but about facing them with integrity and calm. How about starting today to train this inner strength? It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that past mistakes define who you are or what you can achieve in the future. But here's a liberating truth: the past doesn't determine your destiny, it merely provides the necessary lessons to shape the path ahead. Yes, we've all made mistakes, made wrong decisions, or acted in ways that embarrass us today. However, those moments aren't prisons, they're opportunities to learn and grow. And do you know what's most amazing? Every new day brings the chance to correct behaviors and move toward the future with renewed principles. The secret to transforming the past into an ally lies in how you choose to interpret it. Imagine you faced a significant failure, perhaps a goal you didn't achieve or a relationship that didn't work out. Instead of blaming yourself or constantly reliving that pain, ask, what did this experience teach me? How can I use this to improve? This exercise in reflection helps you extract the lesson without carrying the unnecessary weight of guilt or regret. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, a man's life is what his thoughts make of it. In other words, what really matters is how you interpret and reframe your experiences. Here's a powerful practice. Set aside a few minutes at the end of the day to mentally review the day's events. Ask yourself, what did I do today that I'm proud of? What could I have done differently? This simple practice helps you gradually adjust your course, ensuring you're always aligned with your values and goals. Remember, the past is a teacher, not a sentence. It can show you where you stumbled, but it's up to you to decide how to take the next step. How about starting today to use your experiences as fuel for growth? If you've ever imagined Stoicism as a rigid philosophy that demands impeccable physical posture or an unshakable facial expression, it's time to rethink that idea. The true strength of a Stoic isn't in the muscles of the body but in the musculature of the brain. The ability to think clearly, maintain emotional balance, and act virtuously regardless of circumstances. It's like having a superpower that allows you to face life's daily challenges without losing your integrity or serenity. This inner strength manifests when you learn to observe your thoughts and emotions without letting them dominate you. Imagine you're going through a tough moment. Perhaps you received unfair criticism or faced an unexpected setback. Instead of reacting impulsively or sinking into frustration, you can pause and ask, what really matters here? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my principles? This ability to create distance between stimulus and response is what distinguishes a strong mind from a reactive one. And the best part? Like any muscle, it can be trained with consistent practice. So, how do you strengthen this mental muscle? A good strategy is to adopt small daily practices that promote self-awareness and resilience. For example, when you wake up, dedicate a few minutes to reflect on the values you want to put into practice during the day. At the end of the day, review your actions and see where you can improve. Books like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius or The Daily Stoic can be great guides to inspire your journey. Remember, the strength of a Stoic doesn't eliminate problems but gives you the clarity needed to face them with wisdom. How about starting today to train your mind to be stronger? One of the most liberating lessons Stoicism offers us is the idea that no matter how much our past actions may have deviated from our principles, those values remain intact, ready to be reclaimed whenever we choose. The past may have been marked by mistakes or slip-ups, but it doesn't have the power to erase what you believe in. Your principles are like an internal compass. They always point north even when you've temporarily lost your way. Imagine that, at some point in your life, you acted impulsively or made decisions that make you feel uncomfortable today. Instead of blaming yourself or thinking it's too late, remember that your principles are still there, firm and unshakable, waiting for you to reaffirm them. For example, if one of your values is honesty but you realize you've recently set it aside, all it takes is deciding to bring that value back into your routine. It doesn't matter how much time has passed or what choices you've made before, the important thing is what you do now to align your actions with your deepest values. Here's a simple practice to maintain this connection with your principles. Create a daily ritual of reaffirmation. It could be when you wake up or before you sleep, where you review your values and reflect on how they can guide your decisions the next day. Write them down, visualize them, and use them as a guide for your actions. Remember, the past can influence, but it doesn't determine. You always have the power to start over, to reignite the flame of the principles that define who you truly are. How about starting today to reconnect with your most important values? We've reached the end of this video, but the most important part is still ahead. What will you do with everything you've learned here? Will you let these ideas simply evaporate like so many others that have crossed your mind? Or will you decide to put them into practice, taking the first step toward a life guided by solid principles, serenity, and inner strength? Remember, the future you desire starts today with small choices that can completely transform your path. Think about it. Which values do you want to reignite now? How can you use the challenges of daily life as opportunities to grow and evolve? How about starting by creating a daily reset ritual, whether reflecting on your principles when you wake up or reviewing your actions before you sleep? These small habits may seem simple, but they have the power to generate profound changes over time. And do you know what's most amazing? You don't have to do this alone. There are many people seeking the same path, and I'm here to help you on this journey. So, how about taking the next step? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more inspiring content like this. Together, we can explore practical tools and powerful reflections to transform not only our lives but also the world around us. After all, who better than us to reignite the flame of the values that truly matter? The future is in your hands. What will you do with it?